Check this out. There's trash talk, and then there's what Draymond did to Pierce last night. Repose of the soul of Paul Pierce. Let's go round the horn. You like my music there? That's like that young Pope on HBO. That Pope is too young,
Around
man.
the Horn,
He's just
the
too
show
young.
of competitive banter.
He's just too young.
Here's Tony Reale.
NBA news of the day. Sixers ending Ben Simmons' season before it ever started. This 3-month injury has turned into a 5-monther, and now the team's okay with it being a full year injury after the most recent CAT scan came back not clearing it. Ramona, we'll start with you. How bad is this for Philadelphia, and how bad is this for Ben Simmons?
Yeah, this is really disappointing for Philadelphia and Ben Simmons. Because, I mean, he's not the first Sixer to miss his entire rookie season. Joel Embiid did that, and Nerlens Noel did that. But, like, you don't want to mess around with a Jones fracture. So it's a good decision on their part to sit him down. But they were becoming a great story in the NBA. They were pushing for that playoff spot. And I think, free agents were actually starting to talk about the Sixers as a place they might want to go. Whereas last summer, the last couple times, it was a place where you throw $60 million at a guy and he'd still say no because he didn't want anything to do with the process that they had going on in Philadelphia.
Is that right?
You just don't know what
You'd hear that from players, Ramona? Yeah.
Yeah, last year Jamal Crawford got a huge offer from the Sixers, and he said, I just can't do that. Like, I will take less money to stay in L.A. than I will to go to Philadelphia.
But this is a move they have to do, right, Sarah? They have to shut down Ben Simmons if they have any question about a CAT scan, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And of all teams, they know what it's like to deal with an injury that drags on too long. As Ramona mentioned, they've already had 2 guys miss their entire rookie seasons. But you can't be moved by PR or bad publicity. You can't say, we don't want to be the team that gets criticized yet again for taking a guy who doesn't see a single minute of playing time in his rookie season. You're better off having that guy play well down the road. And that's only going to happen if you play it as safe as possible. Look at Cameron Payne. Look at Kevin Durant. We've seen guys with foot injuries that come back perhaps a little bit too early, and it manifests itself in other foot injuries or related injuries. It's all part of the kinetic chain. And with a guy like him, you get it fixed 100% before you send him out there, even if it's bad news for a Philly fan base that's already a little angry about that trade from yesterday.
Let's keep this kinetic chain going from west to east. Kay Fagan?
I'm still on board with the Sixers and what they needed to do here, and I buy all of the reasons because they're not currently going anywhere. But I will say that I'm teetering closely towards confusion about what they're doing here because they're kind of like the inverse of escape velocity in that as they keep shutting guys down, their guys who are 2-3 years into their careers are going to be playing with guys who are shut down, therefore they're not going to win. And then as they draft guys, they shut them down early because they're not winning. So it's that every guy who comes into the system then doesn't get to prove himself. And it never ends, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, for a second I thought Pablo Torre had invaded your plasma there because I had no idea what you were saying.
Wouldn't that be a good thing?
So give us a headline here then, the greater headline. Just talk to me like I'm a third grader, please. I'll take that as a maybe. All right, Jackie McMullen, how about you?
I don't see how we can criticize what the Sixers are doing here. This is a very important player to their future. He's hurt. You let him rest. You get him healthy. You need to do that. And in the meantime, you finally have Saric come over. He's playing great for you. Embiid has got some health issues. You're careful with him. He doesn't like that. But these young players have to understand. They have waited all this time to build this foundation. And they have a great foundation in Embiid, Simmons, Saric, and some of the other pieces they have. So even though nobody likes it, you've got to be patient. I know Embiid's been frustrated with his knee injury and how the team handled that. But they're all doing the best they can for these young players who are aching to prove they belong, aching to prove that the Sixers are relevant. Ramona, I think you would agree with me this summer. I think it will be different for the Sixers because you got all these great young players assembled, and you also have a coach in Brett Brown that players really
Jackie,
like.
I'm not sure if the pun was intended, but aching to prove. That's the problem, is the aching part. Real quick, and I don't want to put you on the spot here, Jackie. But I remember having this discussion about 12 months ago when we heard Ben Simmons was putting on some size at the draft. Do you think this is related?
I do. I thought then, and I think I remember I told you that even before he was injured, that I didn't like the way they were training a young guy with a slender frame and trying to pack all those pounds on. And I don't believe it was the Sixers so much as the personal training staff that he chose. So, yeah, I do think that, and I'm sure he's learned from that. I don't think you'll see that happen.
I want to go back after the horn to Kate and her existential theorem on life. Please, please.
All right, basically, escape velocity is when you build up enough speed that you get slingshot away from the earth, right? What I'm saying is the Sixers are caught in the reverse of that, where they're not playing guys. So Embiid's not playing, so they don't play Simmons, because who needs to play Simmons? Because they're not good. Then Simmons gets older, they're not playing him, so they bring in a younger guy.
Oh my God,
and they don't play the younger guy. And then they're stuck in it.
Wait, is the earth flat or round in this hypothesis?
Okay. What? I mean,
When
I don't
you're
know what to say.
slingshotting.
It's above my
love that
pay
you thought
grade,
we would all
but
get
I'm a
it.
little bit scared right now, so I'll give some points to escape velocity.
There we go.
We've been Horn. We'll move on. 50 in the third quarter last night for Golden State. Oh, boy. Draymond. Look at the escape velocity on Draymond here as this escaped his mouth. Well, he Draymond Pierce last night. I believe we can all say. He also Draymond Blake Griffin. And he Draymond anybody with a face. Clippers Clipper, Warriors Warriors. Sarah, let's start with you here. Seeing that 50 spot in a quarter, does that make you think the Warriors maybe this year are more equipped to handle whatever it is Draymond might do in a pivotal game in a somewhat important forthcoming series?
What you're saying is we're supposed to be impressed that the Warriors scored more in one quarter than the West All-Stars did in a quarter of that game. Yes, we are incredibly impressed by that. And yes, I do think that they can withstand the Draymond being Draymond stuff. Listen, it was just in December that Draymond was criticizing league officials for their kinesiology backgrounds in suggesting that perhaps his leg kicks were not natural movements. And here we are, he's fighting for a loose ball, and he's doing like a Rockettes move over his head to kick a guy that comes over. It's so absurd. And every time we see it, we think to ourselves, what is it going to take for Draymond to get it? And if he didn't get it last year in the finals when he sabotaged his entire team, then he's never going to get it. And the fact is, yes, they at least have the talent now to overcome it, but it's sad to me to watch him do the things he did last night when he's got the talent he does and is a likable guy when he's not dogging Pierce and kicking people in the face.
That's two answers, kinetic and kinesiology. What, are you trying to get a certificate in physical therapy on our show right now? Kate Fagan, how about you?
Happening.
Yeah, there's too much velocity.
I don't know. I thought last year that they had too much talent. I mean, we're talking about the team that set the all-time win record. I thought at that point that they would be able to overcome Draymond Green and his emotional nature, and they weren't able to. So if the team that didn't set the all-time win record couldn't overcome it, then I don't think we can necessarily say that Draymond Green doesn't get suspended again or set them back in these playoffs. And then you see a team like the Cavs, who are also loading up, are able to take advantage of that. I think that's a perfect possibility because we have seen it before. We actually have history to point to say that it has impacted this Warriors team.
Jackie, you have a takeaway from last night?
Yeah, so, I mean, the one thing I will say about Green and the Warriors is they're getting used to each other. And by that, I mean, when he has these outbursts and problems and technicals, it does seem that at least this season, and it's a very small sample size, Golden State comes back and almost it's like, let's just block out the noise and go about our business. And they seem to be doing that quite effectively this season. But I'm with Kate on this. Draymond Green is and always will be for the Golden State Warriors one of their biggest strengths and one of their biggest weaknesses. I didn't see anything last night that changed my mind about it. Here's what I'm wondering about the Pierce exchange, though. Was that did he just come out with that, or did Pierce say something to him first? That's what I'd like to know, because that seems like a pretty weird place to go without some kind of preface from Pierce
I'm glad
himself.
he went there, though. I thought it was pretty good. All right, Ramona, where are you on this Warriors team this year?
Did you see Steve Kerr's face, like, when Draymond's getting carted, like, pulled away? Like, Steve's laughing. Like, Steve
Well, is that
like,
the way to handle it? Is that a good way to handle
Yeah.
maybe at this point?
Yeah, and look, Steve Kerr's the one guy that Draymond will listen to. And I know that in the past couple of years, whenever Draymond goes too far, whenever Draymond gets out of line to the point where Steve feels like he's going to hurt the team, he gets up in his face and he has that conversation. I don't even think last night, like watching that game and watching these highlights again, I don't think that they were ever in any kind of danger of blowing the game. Like, this was just Draymond saying, we're losing, let's get back into this. They were losing at half. That doesn't happen to the Warriors very often. And Draymond Green is the guy that gives the Warriors their edge. I think Steve Kerr is in pretty good control of the situation with Draymond. It's just a matter of controlling it at the right times, and we're not going to know that till June.
We've been Horn. We'll move on. Check out the sign in the Kings pregame last night. I made a better sound 2 days ago. You guys called it the worst deal in NBA history, but Kings 1-0, Pelicans 0-1. Lost by 30 to Houston last night. With Davis and Cousins combining for 56 and 25. And Caspi broke his thumb in this game. Kate, what are you drawing from the first impression? New Orleans.
I'm not worried at all, even though we had such a lopsided outcome, because I'm actually buying into the fact that Cousins, even though he was having a career year playing a slower pace in Sacramento, and now he's paired with a guy like Anthony Davis and the Pelicans that play up-tempo. I'm actually not worried about that because Cousins has played fast, and I can see the Pelicans figuring out an offense where Anthony Davis, who always busted down court, stretching that defense, forcing them to get back, and then DeMarcus Cousins being really good at lagging behind and hitting threes. I can see him finding his spots in an offense that's really up-tempo and them having a unique way of handling those two bigs. And I believe in this because I do believe in Drew Holiday, having seen him for a number of years with the Sixers and his ability to find ways to make that work and also to be such a strong defender for that team.
Jackie, first impressions, the Pelicans?
Well, first impression, Kate, you're right. DeMarcus Cousins is pretty good at lagging behind. Does a lot of that, actually. And if that's what you're looking for in your big man, you got just the guy you'd like to have. Sorry. So I want to believe in DeMarcus Cousins because I see the ability just like all of you do. But what does it say when you make this trade? And he obviously is motivated. He's coming into that. And you are trailing by 33 points, which is the most in your franchise's history for the first game of the DeMarcus Cousins era. I want to buy in, people, but I just can't. I'm sorry.
It was the largest deficit for them, entering the fourth in their franchise history. Ramona, do you have an impression from last night?
Yeah, Jackie Mack could hang with Draymond in a trash talk contest. That was pretty good. Yeah. Look, I think this is all going to come down to whether he plays defense or not, because the combination of Anthony Davis and Boogie Cousins has the potential to be an unstoppable defensive back line there. I mean, Anthony Davis is one of the best defenders in the league already. Boogie's probably the best center in the league, and if he's motivated, like Jackie said, if he's motivated, he can be a great defensive player. They're never going to outscore the Rockets. Like, no one's going to outscore the Rockets. I think the only team probably who could is the Golden State Warriors. And in their first game, they don't understand their defensive coverages yet. But if Boogie buys in like he did during the Olympics when he was on Team USA, they may have something.
I think we have something here right now with Sarah Spain, please.
Well, I've noticed some anti-intellectualism so far in the point scoring, so I'm just going to make sure I avoid most multisyllabic words for you and keep it real simple. The first thing I'll note is that Boogie looked incredibly comfortable. He was dominating, and his team was losing by 30 points. It felt just like Sacramento to him. But more importantly, I think we need to note that one of the biggest issues that they had was giving up 25 points on 20 turnovers and giving away 34 fast break points. Those are the kind of things that come from a lack of chemistry, from miscommunication, from guys who are just getting together. We also have to look at the fact that Boogie and Anthony Davis had 56 points, and the other three starters had a combined 15. So it's exactly what we expected out of this. You have two tremendous players there, and you don't have a lot supporting them. So we can't expect overnight for them to become a championship team. I like the looks of the two starters that are the best guys on the team playing well, and we'll go from there.
Look at those scores. This is Game of Thrones right here. Take a break right now. Buy or sell next.
Ramona, did Sarah call us dumb?
No, my exit policy in this segment
I'm
is
still
about to
up
be
by Case.
quick. I am on my way out of here.
Buy or sell.
Darren Williams and Andrew Bogut, both about to be available, both being linked to the Cleveland Cavaliers, because this is the NBA. You only play for two teams when you have a chance to call your own shot. I want to know what the NBA should be feeling about that, Ramona, but also, does Williams have anything left? Does Bogut make sense? Buy or sell this being a championship maneuver for the Cavaliers?
Yeah, I'm totally buying it, and I think they saw this coming, too. David Griffin, the general manager, was sitting back. He had a couple of deals that he could have made. I know they had called the Lakers about Lou Williams or Nick Young. They're trying to get a swingman there. And then you look and go, wait a minute, we may not have to do anything right here because these guys may be available on the buyout market. And if you know Andrew Bogut, like I think we all know him, he's the kind of guy who's not going back to Golden State. He was really stung by the way that he ended his tenure there. If he's going to leave, he's going to go to the guys he's going to go to the guys in Cleveland.
Sarah Spain?
Yeah, this is like Tom Brady getting suspended so Garoppolo plays. The whole league sees how great he is, and then they get a big trade deal out of it, right? The rich get richer. Somehow it always works out for the teams that are already on top. And in this case, the Cavs don't have to give anything away. They just wait for Darren Williams to get waived, and then he falls into their lap. The question is, how much of him is left? He put up some good numbers with the Mavs, but he recently got replaced by a D-League guy named Yogi Ferrell, who's on a 10-day contract, and then they say, all right, cool, this guy's way better. We're just going to get rid of Williams. We don't even need him anymore. So I presume he has something left, and I presume Bogut does too. But we still have to wait and see. They're still nowhere near the Warriors, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like it. I mean, normally I would question adding two guys into a system that you have to learn, and will you be able to be blended in time that the playoffs come and you're making that run. But when your system is basically fill things in around Kyrie and LeBron, and that's all you need to know about it, just add to the side of that, then I love that you're adding two veteran guys who understand what they're playing for at this point in their career.
Jackie.
Yeah, the one thing the Cleveland Cavaliers were missing was the kind of depth they need to win a championship, depth off the bench. When you have a veteran point guard who's been around, and you're right, Sarah, you should worry about his injury history a little bit, how much he has left. He doesn't have to have a ton left. He just has to be out there to fill in minutes and not screw up. I'm pretty sure Darren Williams can do that for Cleveland. These are big pickups.
But, Jackie, you've been covering this league. When an NBA fan that's not in Cleveland sees
fill in the blank.
sees a move like this, what do they think? Oh, of course the Cavs are getting them.
Yeah, but that's as old as time, Tony. Back in the day when the Lakers and Celtics were vying for championships and there were plays like this, that's where those players went. P.J. Brown, I mean, I could list a million of them for you. That's
old
just
as
the way it
time.
is in the league.
You didn't hear that from me. We'll move on. Buy or sell two. Paul George on his day yesterday. On the ropes, dark moment of uncertainty, which sounds like a Washington Post masthead. Or you want me to be your guy here? I thought it would have been in the loop a little bit more on that. Sarah, buy or sell?
I'm buying that those are future lyrics to a Dashboard Confessional song, and I'm also buying Paul George's feeling, because to me, I totally get this. Look, it's uncomfortable to have a conversation with your superstar about what comes next, because you want him to believe that you want him and that he's your guy. But in this case, he's not getting good players filled in around him, and he's also not getting sent anywhere else. So he feels like in this terrible purgatory of we're not going to get any better, and I don't get to have any escape velocity from Indianapolis. So it's important for him to at least have conversations about it.
Escape velocity is the mating call of a Fagan. Go ahead, Kate.
I think it's ironic that Sarah's using escape velocity to slingshot past me in the point department right now. Okay? That is sad.
Okay, all right.
All right, look, I buy Paul George. I mean, he's given the Pacers information that he wants to be part of a contender. When you want to set a plan, you need information. And so I buy what he wants because he also wants information back from the Pacers. And when you've reached a point in your career like he has, you deserve that.
McMullen.
You know, I'm sorry, guys, I'm selling this. It's Paul George and his agent that went to the Pacers and said, we're not really sure if we're going to opt out after that contract. We don't really know about the future. We need you to fill in things around us. When you do that, you're setting off alarms to your franchise that, you know what, I may bolt on you. In fact, I expect Paul George to be traded. I don't know exactly when, but I don't expect him to be with the Pacers too much longer. So when you do that, you, as far as I'm concerned, forfeit all right to tell how much you should know when you should know it. That's not how it works.
Shelburne.
Yeah, first of all, I love the Winston Churchill-esque quote there, the dark moment of uncertainty from Paul George. The Pacers, I don't know if they should have traded him yesterday, but they got to trade him soon because his value only goes down. And if he's not going to commit long-term to him, they cannot be the Oklahoma City Thunder waiting and hoping to convince Kevin Durant to stay and getting nothing for him in return if he's going to leave.
All right. Look at these scores here. Now we're in trouble because we had a situation where we were about to do a third buy or sell, but we don't have time for that. And since we all had some fun with escape velocity today, we're going to allow that to be a tiebreaker. Here comes the slingshot back in your favor, Fagan. This is the fun one today. Spade, McMullen, the weekend starts right now for you. Shelburne, Fagan, showdown next. Shelburne and Fagan in showdown. Momo and Sparks. All-time standings. You ready? Fagan 4, Shelburne 0. Oh!
Like the Clippers against the Warriors, man. Woo!
Showdown 1, court awareness. The Nuggets, unaware, Ty Lawson is milking the clock here. Look at the game clock. Shot clock's not on. Game clock's running. Nuggets didn't know it. Northwestern's Ashley Deary tying her shoe with the ball, has the ball stolen, and then scored in her face. And Courtney Lee was going for a dunk over a player by the name of LeBron James.
Yeah.
Whose lack of awareness is
Music.
most alarming, Ramona?
I'm going to go with Courtney Lee, man. You just don't go up against LeBron James in that spot, in that place. Because even if you do throw it down over LeBron, he's going to make you pay later.
Well, I believe that Lee had court awareness. He just didn't have self-awareness, so I'm not going to pick him. I want you to notice, Tony, that on those 2 previous clips, it was in women's hoops that she came sprinting in to get that ball that was just sitting there, okay? That's hustle right there.
So in the women's hoop, they're hustling, and the men's hoops from the Nuggets. We didn't. I think you just passed the Bechdel test, which I approve of, which is nice. Point for Fagan. Showdown 2.
Kevin Durant over there.
Tom Brady. He posted a video of himself taking a digger on a jump while skiing with the family. We don't have the rights to the video, so here's what it may have looked like. That's the video of the Venezuelan skier, by the way, who finished last in the race, but it's been an international sensation. Kate, something or nothing for Brady?
Oh, my God, this is something. Okay, Tom Brady, this is a dude who will not eat a tomato because it's inflammatory. And he's skiing and he's going off of jumps? Yes, it's something.
No, this is nothing. This is Tom Brady having fun. He's been hanging out with his daughter up there, working on the French fry or the pizza with the skis. Like, he's having fun. And by the way, you guys are mean with that Venezuelan skill. He got deported and he couldn't even practice.
I think it's a wonderful international story
that
the Venezuelan
He's
skiers.
never been on snow before.
Yeah, that's great. So you said this was nothing, Ramona.
Nothing. He's having fun.
Unfortunately, the number of wins you have in this matchup against Kate Fagan. FaceTime, Fagan.
You guys, I watched the most suspenseful thing I've ever seen. Planet Earth 2. Woo! Okay, there is a non-ending scene with iguanas getting born coming out of the sand and having to escape snakes. This is beautiful. The whole thing, Planet Earth 2, is beautiful. I just have one recommendation, that they give us like a little downtime between these tension-filled scenes. But you should all check it out because it's wildly shot.
That's what I was thinking about today. I need some downtime after all the tension today. It was wonderful, ladies. We're doing it again. See you then.
Buddy.